Welcome to Steel Talks, a podcast by ArcelorMittal. In today's episode, host Tom Cheesewright speaks to Jefferson de Paula and Jorge Oliveira, CEOs of our long and flat products businesses in Brazil. They discuss Brazil's economic prospects, what it means for the country's steel demand over the next decade, the initiatives ArcelorMittal Brazil is undertaking to further strengthen its already market-leading business.
If I could just ask you to introduce yourselves, starting with you, George, just give us your name, your role in the organisation, and your job title, please.
Hi, Tom. My name is Jorge Oliveira. I'm the CEO of Flat Carbon Latin America.
Fantastic. And you, Jefferson?
My name is Jefferson de Paula. I am the president of ArcelorMittal Brazil and the CEO of Long Carbon Latam.
Fantastic. Let's start with a simple question first for you, Jefferson. Is Brazil a growth opportunity for a steel producer over the next few years?
Yes, definitely. As you know, Brazil is a development country and needs a huge investment in the infrastructures, like roads, rails, construction, sanitation, housing, and as well the automotive sector will grow a lot in Brazil in the next coming years.
How does Brazil's steel consumption now compared to other similar countries? I understand it's relatively low.
Yes, nowadays Brazil steel consumption is low. We are around 110 kilos per inhabitants, and in average in the world is 230. It means that we think that Brazil will achieve this in the next 10 years or 15 years. It means that Brazil has a big gap and a big opportunity.
If I could turn to you, George, Jefferson sort of mentioned some of the big growth sectors there. Could you talk about those in a bit more depth? I know that infrastructure is clearly a big driver and housing, but Jefferson also mentioned the automotive industry.
Yes, house is a good example. We are 215 million people in Brazil. To have an idea, we have today about 6 to 7 million gap in housing for the population. So it's drive a big opportunity. Brazil is a big continental territory, which means infrastructure for roads, highways to be done to connect the every single state in the country to increase the country's productivity is also a big opportunity. Automotive, as an example, we have between 4 to 5 million vehicles capacity installed in Brazil, and we do produce currently around 2.4 million. It drives our big opportunities. Agriculture continues being an opportunity, and we as ArcelorMittal, for example, we are concluding a big investment in the south of Brazil that we can support the grain storage silos with the new project. We also can replace, we're already testing with a product called magnesium to substitute wooden pillar in grape production for winding by our steel. For example, opportunities are there, and emphasizing renewables in Brazil is a great opportunity. Brazil, again, is a good territory, big territory, and also a good sunshine and good windy capability, what drives this opportunity very importantly for us.
Jefferson, George mentioned the Magnelis product there, which has a specific advantage for the agricultural sector. Are there other specific ArcelorMittal products that are very applicable in some of those growth sectors?
Yes, look, I would like to start saying that the ArcelorMittal Brazil is a leader of Brazil, both flat and long. It means that we are leader here in Brazil in construction, industry, and then we We are investing in Brazil in order to maintain our market share, even increase our market share in Brazil. And our focus here in our big investment that we are doing is to go to high added value products. It means that we will produce more high added value products to the construction, to industry, and of course that our investment will be for new products as well and cost reduction. I would like to say that last year, ArcelorMittal Brazil produced 42% of the total production, steel production in Brazil. And we are leaders in construction. We have around 45, 43% of the construction market share. In industry, we have around 37, 38% of the total market share in Brazil. It means that we are investing to maintain our market share, even increase, and focusing a lot in high added value products.
George, Jefferson mentions some fairly significant figures there in terms of market leadership. What drives that? What separates ArcelorMittal from the competition in country?
I would say the first key thing is our people. We have a really great team in Brazil. We do relate to them in a very respectful way, because when we respect the people, we have trust developed, we have motivation. For example, we do very serious health and safety way to manage in Brazil. So health and safety is a value to us. We have a very good environmental mindset to be in respect to environmental legislations. So with that, we have a great team that drives mindset to high performance. We are a high performance organization. For long segment, we have a raw material. For flat segment, we are on the coast with good logistics to receive raw material like coal from outside. We have railway connecting, for example, Tubarão site with iron ore mines. So the location, having raw material for part of our business, and have the mindset to drive high performance, we are continuously ahead of our competition. For example, in the EBITDA gap in the range of $70 per ton, having sometimes more, but with that range, currently we are in flat around 50, 55, and long is 100, but we are all the time ahead of the competition. As emphasizing what Jefferson said about the product range, high value added, we have a huge R&D in the group of ArcelorMittal, and since 2015, one of the global R&D centers is located in Brazil, what speeded up our ability to propose solutions for our clients in order to be, again, ahead of the competition, proposing solution with our customers. Those kind of examples can explain why we are ahead of our competition.
Jefferson, that's what's brought you to the current position. What does the future investment look like? How is ArcelorMittal investing it in Brazil?
Well, as Jorge said before, we are investing here in ArcelorMittal in order to follow the market growth. We do believe that Brazil will grow. The growth in the future in Brazil will be much higher than nowadays. GDP growth in Brazil last year was around 3%. This year will be 2%, and our forecast is that Brazil will grow. The GDP growth will be around 4, maybe 4.5% in the next coming years. It means that ArcelorMittal is a leader in Brazil, and which we need to follow this growth, a big growth that we are seeing in Brazil. We are investing a lot in performance, in cost reduction, in new products, in a different service in order to become the first choice here in Brazil.
Coming back to the investment and development program, could you both give me an example of what types of investments, what types of projects are being undertaken? Just an example that you could pull out.
I can tell you about the project in south of Brazil in our facility called ArcelorMittal Vega. We are just finishing the construction to have the startup in the next days, this month of June. I can give you some example about this project. When you look for this project, we looked in a way that we can close some gaps to have against competition and bring ArcelorMittal new product to Brazil. Let's talk about ArcelorMittal new products, the product called Magnelis, we mentioned earlier in the podcast. But the Magnelis is important because it uses magnesium as alloy, and is self-immune against corrosion when we open a hole in this steel sheet. And this hole, it controls the corrosion by itself. So it can be used, for example, in silos for grain storage is one example. It can be used in grape production for wines to replace wood pillars. Just some example, in fender defense for roads, because you also need to open hole to the pillar with the horizontal fender. So it also 3 examples where Magnelis can be used. Another gap we closed is thickness of our galvanizing products. We used to be until 2 millimeters, and the competitor goes to 3 millimeters. With this new facility, we go to 3 millimeters also. A third gap is related to cold rolled products, where in this new facility, we have a kind of annealing of the product, where we have better and stable mechanical properties. So we can compete better against our competition in, for example, in automotive market. So those kind of features we are closing with this product is about 2 billion reais capex finishing this month of June.
I would like to add another investment here. This investment is not for the domestic market, is not to consume in Brazil, but in my opinion, is very important for ArcelorMittal Group. We are going ahead with a very important project here, a greenfield plant in mining, Serra Azul mining that we have here. We will produce 4.5 million tons per year pellet feed, a very, very high quality that, in my opinion, will be very, very important for ArcelorMittal. And we will produce 4.5 million tons pellet feed high quality, and we will send this material to Mexico in ArcelorMittal in Mexico, that we will produce pellets and then produce steel in a high added value products. This is very important. It's not for our market, but we are adding value for ArcelorMittal Group.
How does the sort of the geographic footprint of the business play into that? Does that give you particular advantages?
Yes. Nowadays, ArcelorMittal is very concentrated in the region that Brazil is more rich. The consumption is higher, etc. But we have been investing in another region as well. For instance, Pecém. ArcelorMittal bought Pecém, and Pecém is the northeast of the country that is not the apparent steel consumption there is not very big, but is increasing. And then ArcelorMittal is looking not only increase our capacity, our high added value products in one region, but in all the Brazil.
What role does sustainability play in future plans for ArcelorMittal in Brazil?
We in Brazil, we work with the sustainability for a long, long time. Just to confirm that we have already 3 facilities in Brazil, Tubarão, Vega, and the Monlevade, in both the flat and long segments. They were already certified by Responsible Steel, that it covers sustainability as a whole. It's a confirmation that we are working on that for a long, long time. We have a bioforest in long segment, when we produce 25 to 30% of our total capacity is doing through charcoal. It means low carbon already production from ArcelorMittal in Brazil. It's very positive. We have a very important water management system since a long time. So to give an example, in Tubarão, we started operating 40 years ago with seawater to cool down our power plants. Instead of using raw water, so using seawater since the beginning. It was 40 plus years ago. So over these 40 years, you are improving water management. For example, we have the first desalinization industrial facility in Brazil. It is in Tubarão. It's the second in Brazil, and first for industry, meaning that water is to the society. We are also supporting, and we signed the memorandum of understanding to buy for 35 years water from sewage treatment that the state must do. We donate an area in Tubarão, so water management is another important thing. We have a foundation in Brazil that we support the communities we are nearby, so it's led by Jefferson's team, but we work together both in South America. And in the climate changing, we have following the guideline from the group, the commitment to be carbon neutral in 2050 until there. So we are developing as renewable. We are already investing huge amount of money from Jefferson segment in renewables in Brazil to be self-sufficient in renewables for our footprint. We have signed a memorandum of understanding with a petroleum company in Brazil called Petrobras to study and develop a CCS alternative, carbon capture and storage, in pre-salt oil production system, where Petrobras has huge experience on that. So it will take time, but we're working very serious in this climate change trajectory in order to be with the group leading this in Brazil, for example.
Wow. Incredible. Jefferson, Jorge mentioned a renewables project there. Could you tell us a bit more information about that?
Is very, very involved, a very strong know-how here in Brazil, Casa dos Ventos. We did a GV that we have, ArcelorMittal has 55% of the GV and Casa dos Ventos 45%. This is in Bahia, is northeast of this country, and is one the most important project here, wind project, and the capacity will be 550 megawatts. This is the most important project in this country.
Incredible. And how's that generating capacity being used?
We will use this 90% of this generation. ArcelorMittal will use in our plants that we are here in Brazil in a very strong position in terms of the electric energy consumption, because as you know, we have electric arc furnace, four electric arc furnace here in Brazil. We have many plants. Well, we are the biggest steel producer here in Brazil, and we will use it. We will consume around 90% of this contract.
Excellent. Thank you both.